Hi there guys, welcome to this video. My name's John from ActiveJR.com, and this video is going to cover a detailed comparison of the Apple Watch 3 versus Fitbit Ionic versus Garmin Vivoactive 3. Now, all these free wearables come out over the last couple of months, and a lot of people have been asking the question, which one is better and which one is right for me? Now, hopefully in this video, I'm going to take you through several different sections, which I'm going to compare the different wearables, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on which one is right for which user. Now, before we get started, as always, there's links in the description below if you think about getting one of these. Check those links out. They've got up-to-date live pricing from the retailers, and also clicking on the links also help out ActiveJR to continue to make these videos, so it's greatly appreciated. And also subscribe to my channel, as I really appreciate it. And also, if you've got a comment, please leave it in the comment section below, as I will get back to you. Or you've got a question about any particular products in this video, I'm more than willing to try and get the answer and come back to you. So please leave a comment, as I will respond. So because this is a rather large video series, I've decided to split it in three parts. Part one will focus on the screen, the design, and also the battery life. Part two will focus on activity tracking and fitness tracking. And part three will focus on the wrist-based HR sensor, connecting external sensors, smart features, and finally the conclusion of the series. Okay, so when I was thinking about making this video, I took a couple of things into account. One, I think it was important to compare the different watches against certain points, as I always do in my reviews. But secondly, to point out that the Fitbit Ionic, the Apple Watch 3, and also the Vivoactive 3 are completely different watches aimed at completely different people. So the Apple Watch 3, for instance, is a smartwatch first with fitness features second. The Fitbit Ionic is meant to be a middle of the road watch that's meant to have some great smart features and some great fitness features. And then the Vivoactive 3 is a fitness watch first with some smart features second. So when you take into account buying a particular watch and you're looking at what other people have got, just bear in mind, just because another watch is right for somebody else doesn't mean it's right for you. What you need to do is take into account what you'll be using the watch for and how you'll be interacting with the watch, and what sort of features you're going to be wanting to use in order to decide which one is right for you. First of all, starting with the design and starting with the Apple Watch 3. Now, the Apple Watch 3 is a rectangular design with an aluminium body. For the purpose of this review, I'm using the aluminium 42mm version. Now, it weighs in at 32.3 grams, and it's got two physical buttons. One is what's called Apple's digital crown, which you use to scroll through various different menus, and you've also got the dock stroke home button. Now, the design, I really like the Apple Watch. I think it's a really nice design, and you've also got the choice of swapping out the bands as well. There's options available on the Apple store, but there's also options via third-party vendors on eBay and Amazon, which offer just as good quality straps. The Apple Watch also features a heart rate sensor on the back, and I'll talk more later in the video about the heart rate performance. So overall, the Apple Watch is a really nice design. It's really comfortable to wear all day, and it's really easy to change those bands out. So in terms of design, I think it's pretty good. It's not a traditional watch face that some people might want. However, it is something different, and Apple have stayed with these designs since the Series 1. And moving on to the Fitbit Ionic. The Fitbit Ionic is a square design with an aluminium casing. It's got two buttons on the right-hand side and one button on the left-hand side. The two buttons on the right-hand side are to be used for activating menus or going into the fitness settings, and the one on the left-hand side is typically your home button that takes you back. And I think it's a really well thought out design when it comes to these buttons. Now, the Fitbit Ionic, you can change the bands out, and again, you can buy them on the Fitbit store, and they're also starting to appear on third-party websites to buy. Now, in terms of the design itself, when I first saw the design on the leaked renders and when I saw it on the actual launch pictures, I wasn't overly impressed. I thought it was similar to the Fitbit Blaze, and I didn't think it was going to offer much in terms of looks. However, now I've actually had one, and I've actually had one on the wrist. I'm really impressed with the build quality, and I'm also impressed with how it feels on the wrist, and that you can wear it all day really comfortably without any irritation, which I did find with other Fitbit products. Now, moving on to the Garmin Vivoactive 3, it looks like a traditional watch, and it looks like a Garmin Fenix 5. It weighs in at 43 grams, and it's made of fiber reinforced polymer and stainless steel for the case. Also, like the others, it also can allow you to swap the bands out, and this is done pretty easily. And again, you can buy them via the Garmin website, and they again starting to come through on the third-party sites. Vivoactive 3 has only got one button on the side. Now, this is a button that you use again to get back to the home and use it to start and stop activities, and it's also got side swipe as well, where you can swipe through menus and swipe through your activities. I think this is really good, and it does work really well. Now, in terms of wearability, the Vivoactive 3, it is really comfortable on the wrist, and it's really comfortable for all day wearing, especially if you're going to use this type of wearable to be wearing overnight. When you're sleeping to track your sleep, you want something to be really comfortable, and it's really lightweight. In terms of designs, they all offer different designs. I think it's all down to personal taste. My personal taste is the Garmin Vivoactive 3 is the better designed watch, and that's purely down to the fact that I do like traditional watch designs when it comes to my fitness wearables. Now, the Apple Watch is a really nice design. It comes in a close second, and then the Fitbit Ionic. Now, moving on to the screens, which is an important part of a fitness wearable. All three of them have touchscreen capability, and all of them are color screens. Now, they do slightly differ in terms of pixels and also resolution, and I'm going to talk more in detail about that now. The Apple Watch 3, it's a OLED Retina display with 312 by 390 pixels. It's rectangular in shape, just like the design, protected with an Exxon iron glass, which is pretty tough. Can't get away from the fact that the Apple Watch screen is one of the best, and in my opinion, it's the best screen on any smart fitness watch at the moment. It's really crisp, it's really clear, and it is pretty responsive when you're using it and when you're touching the screen and interacting with the menus. Just one thing to know, I found when I'm using it for water-based activities such as swimming, or when my hands are pretty wet, it's not as responsive as I like it to be. So if you are wanting to stop an activity and your hands are wet, or you've been swimming, I've been finding that I've been adding up to 10 to 15 seconds before I've actually got the watch stopped. Moving on to the Fitbit Ionic, the screen is a LCD, which is a full color screen. It's got 348 by 258 pixels, and it's a square design similar to the watch itself. The protection used to protect the screen is Corning Gorilla Glass 3, which offers great screen protection, and it's similar protection that you find on high-end smartwatches. The Fitbit Ionic screen is also very clear and crisp, and I think it's a very close second to the Apple Watch. It's also got touch capability, and this works really well. By using it in the water, it is really responsive, and it's still responding to touch, whereas the Apple Watch would fail to do so. Finally, moving on to the Garmin Vivoactive 3. The Garmin Vivoactive 3 is an LCD panel with 240 by 240 pixels. It's a circular design, just like a traditional watch face. The screen is protected again by Corning Gorilla Glass 3, just like the Fitbit. And it also has a touchscreen, as I've already mentioned. Again, it's really reactive when you're using the touchscreen, even with sweaty hands. And I've also found using it in the water, it works really well. So my screen verdict is that the Apple Watch 2 certainly wins this category. It's a great screen. You cannot take it away that this is the best screen at the moment in a smartwatch. The Fitbit Ionic, also a great screen, but it comes in second, and the Vivoactive 3 comes in third. Now, just bear in mind, whilst the screen on the Apple Watch is better, and that you've also got to take into account when using the screen with wet or clammy hands, how well it performs. But in terms of the screen quality, the Apple Watch 3 is certainly the best that I'm comparing right now. So moving on to battery life. Battery life, as everyone knows, is important with any wearable, and you need to be able to last. Now, all the three have got different battery lives. They're not the best battery lives out of all the different wearables I've tested. However, in this category, I'll talk through my experiences of using them and the battery life performance. I'll also talk about an 8K hike that I did with all three devices and how the batteries came out. So starting with the Apple Watch 3, Apple quote an 18-hour battery life. Real world usage, I've been finding I've getting about 12 hours. This is with pretty heavy usage, attending a couple of fitness classes, going to the gym, and maybe cycling or running. If I was doing GPS activities, the battery would be shortened further, and if I was using it to make calls, it would also be shortened further. On the 8K hike, it came out at 21% battery at the end, which is okay, but given I was only walking for about 6.5 hours, and then when I got home, the battery was on about 12%, so I needed to put it on charge, and this was only after about 8 hours of use. So if you are wanting to use it for a lot of activities, then you're going to find the battery life depleting pretty quick. So the Fitbit Ionic, the Fitbit quote a multi-day battery life, and I've been finding an average 2 to 3 days of battery life, again with heavy usage and heavy testing. And over the 8K hike, when I finished, it came out at 53% battery. So that's pretty good given the GPS was always on. So you'd certainly be able to use this for long distance activities, or if you're wanting to use the watch for long periods of time throughout the day, especially if you're traveling, getting up in the morning and not arriving at your hotel until late at night. Now, moving on to the Vivoactive 3, Garmin quote a 7-day battery life, and I found it's lasting between 3 and 4 days, and again with the same usage across all the devices. Now on the 8K route, it came out at 66% battery. That's pretty good. So certainly this will last if you're doing a marathon, or you're doing long distance running, or you're doing a big cycle ride. It'll certainly last if you've got a long day and you're getting up in the morning and you're traveling and then you're working out and then you're finally getting home or back to your hotel. This is a great watch for battery life. Still not the best that I've tested, and still not on par with some of the others. However, it will last a long time. All three devices I found took about 1.5 hours to charge, and they all use their own proprietary charging cables. Now, in terms of the performance, the obvious winner is the Garmin Vivoactive 3, followed by the Fitbit Ionic, and then the Apple Watch. Now, in terms of battery life, I think you've got to decide if you want to prioritize smart features and a better screen over your battery life. Then the Apple Watch is probably going to go for it. But if you really want something that's going to last you all day and last you a long time, then the Vivoactive 3 is the choice in this category. Okay, so that's the end of part one. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you've got a good overview of the design, the screen, and the battery life. If you want to watch part two is coming up on the screen right now, and that talks to you about the activity and fitness tracking. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.